valley where the shadows crawl, where the canyon winds whisper every outlaw's fall. When any 730 Winchester strapped tight to his back, stock one smooth from every midnight attack. His coat was torn, his boots were cracked, but his eyes held stories no man could track. Folks said he was born with a curse in his blood, a child of the desert carved from dust and mud. He carried a peacemaker low on his thigh, a cold steel promise beneath the open sky. 6 chambers waiting like wolves in the dark, each one a memory, each one a mark. He'd walk into towns with a slow, steady stride, never showing fear, never stepping aside. Men twice his size would swallow their pride, 'cause death rode silent at the gunslinger's side. With a Winchester on his shoulder and a coat on his hip, he lived by the steel and the long, lonesome trip. No lawman could bind him, no preacher could save. He carved out his legend from cradle to grave. Yeah, the gunslinger's oath was simple and true. Ride hard, shoot straight, and let the wind guide you. He once had a brother who rode by his hand, 2 shadows drifting across the frontier land. Greed is a poison that cuts like a knife, and betrayal's a bullet that ends a man's life. His brother sold him out for a bounty man's gold, left him bleeding in the desert, shivering cold. But the gunslinger rose with a fire in his chest and swore he'd ride on till he laid him to rest. He tracked him for months through the dust and the rain, through ghost towns echoing with sorrow and pain. Every saloon whispered of a man on the run, a traitor who feared the rise of the sun. The gunslinger followed with a quiet rage, turning every mile into another page of a story the desert would never forget, a tale of revenge, unpaid debt. With a Winchester on his shoulder and a coat on his hip, he lived by the steel and the long, lonesome trip. No lawman could bind him, no preacher could save. He carved out his legend from cradle to grave. Yeah, the gunslinger's oath was simple and true. Ride hard, shoot straight, and let the wind guide you. One night he found him in a borderland town, drunk on cheap whiskey, trying not to drown. The gunslinger stepped through the swinging door slow, boots tapping secrets only old ghosts know. His brother looked up with a trembling stare, saw the past in his eyes and the truth laid bare. No words were spoken, no mercy was shown. Some reckon justice is best left alone. Buried him there by the old cottonwood, marked a grave simple like a gunslinger should. Then he rode out alone with a heavy heart, knowing every ending is a place to start. The desert wind carried his sorrow away, but the weight of his choices was there to stay. A man can outrun bullets, outrun the law, but he can't out with things he saw. Some say he wandered to the edge of the map, where the world turned silent like a closing trap. Others swear they saw him by the river bend, talking to the ghosts who called him friend. But legends don't die, they just drift with the sand, carried by the wind across the outlaw land. Years rolled by like a slow-moving storm, and the gunslinger's name grew rugged and warm. Children whispered it under their breath, mothers used it to scare off death. But old men smiled when they heard the tale, said he rode like thunder on a moonlit trail. And somewhere out there beneath the desert sky, a lone rider still lives where the eagles fly. With a Winchester on his shoulder and a coat on his hip, he lived by the steel and the long, lonesome trip. No lawman could bind him, no preacher could save. He carved out his legend from cradle to grave. Yeah, the gunslinger's oath was simple and true. Ride hard, shoot straight, and let the wind guide you. And when the desert calls a man back home, he rides into the dust, forever alone.